Hello, people of the multiverse. I am one of your hosts, James, aka Cosplay.
And I'm Tim, aka UK Grayson, and welcome back to Suit Up.
Now, today's guest is the third member of our very own Kryptonian Council. Some say he has tried every flavour of ice cream in the world. Some say he has his own private con, hashtag UgoCon. One thing is for certain, though, he is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man. Ugo, aka Ugoandcosplay.
Hello. Hey guys.
I feel like
Hi, buddy.
Thanks for having me on the show, finally.
I feel like if we had an audience, that would have been a round of applause moment.
Sorry, I'll pretend I can.
I told you I had a good intro for him.
You really did. Also, I would like to point out, first time.
Yeah.
Seriously impressed, first time
That
with your intro.
That was actually pretty smooth. I was sitting there waiting. It's nothing like what I expected, by the way.
Speech I just did. I'll show you later on. Yeah, so thanks for coming on, man.
My pleasure, absolutely my pleasure.
No worries, man.
Been looking forward to this.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm glad. I get to be one of those people who write first on YouTube comments and things like that.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely. This is going to be a collector's item, this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bag and balled it.
Hall
First
of Fame,
appearance of
yeah.
Ugoandcosplay.
Just a Hall of Fame statue. I want one.
So, yeah, this is super new for us because this is the first one.
Yeah.
So, basically, you know the idea. Mm-hmm. Everyone else knows the idea by now because they'll have hopefully watched two of them. Mm-hmm. We just get on people we love, people we've become really close to, not necessarily all the time. Will be people we don't know, but just to kind of spotlight cosplayers that we love and just get them to talk about everything cosplay.
For both people who are new to it, to shine a light on what cosplay entails, and also people who are kind of involved into it and want a different take on it.
Yeah.
More kind of cosplayers discussing cosplay.
Yeah.
Well,
getting away from Instagram.
We will probably have said this on episode 1 and 2. We haven't said it yet. But yeah, the reason for doing this in the first place was to get away from the kind of Instagramminess that's coming with cosplay.
Yep.
And actually spotlight people and have like a long form conversation with other cosplayers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's just dive into it.
Absolutely.
So the first thing we wanted to talk about with you was what was the first thing, not cosplay related, your first fandom, your first geek thing that you just linked onto.
This is easy. It was Superman. That's right, yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny because most people know me as a Marvel guy.
Yeah.
All right? As a kid growing up, that first Superman with Christopher Reeve, Superman 1 was just, my eyes were kind of like sparkles. If I was an anime character, you see all the sparkles going off as I was watching it. And I always wanted to be Superman. As a kid, I imagined myself as Superman. Times when you're just kind of supposed to go to bed for school the next day, I would sort of imagine open up the window, flying out, and then that whole Lois and Clark's flying scene, like with the music. I just imagine, find my crush and we go fly away and reveal to her that I'm I literally
even at that age you were chasing
at that age. Even from then, it was Superman was awesome. Everything was great about it. Even until now, everything was great about it. The cinematic, production itself, the music, the acting, Christopher Reeve, everything.
Yeah.
That's actually quite interesting because I, as a DC person, was first interested in Spider-Man.
Right.
So it's kind of like the reverse. That's really, really good.
I think I've had different stages. As a young kid, Superman was the person I looked up to. As a teenager, Spider-Man was the person I looked up to. As an adult, it was more Iron Man and T'Challa. So yeah, those are kind of the stages.
That does happen though, doesn't it? People associate themselves with different heroes throughout their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're all of a similar age. Yeah. So the refilms, big part of ourselves growing up, whereas that's changed now for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was the same. There was, it reminded me, you saying that, when you said about going to the window and opening up the window. There was a kid, I'm sure, this may have been like one of those urban myths, but there was a kid that used to live down the road by my primary school.
Right.
And he did that, but he jumped out the window and broke his legs. And that's probably not an uncommon thing because kids would.
Imagination is a strong thing.
People believe they can fly.
But I mean, I never went that far.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I always heard that and was like,
yeah.
But I don't know. I know it. So
to be fair though, I did break my arm dressed as Spider-Man.
That doesn't surprise me, though.
I did once hurt myself.
Okay.
As an adult, like, you hurt yourself.
That's last week.
That does not surprise me.
I'm so glad that you piled on top of, as a child, no, as an adult, I can believe that about you. You are one clumsy mofo.
Yeah, the level of fandom. Like, I remember once hurting myself because I tried to do the Matrix run up the wall.
Right, yeah. Now see, that one.
A Power Ranger.
Yeah. I was going to say, that was the other, During that time, a lot of us were doing, we're doing the whole Power Rangers thing. And like, agreed. Same.
Power Rangers
and the Matrix.
It was a
Power Rangers
really
a big one. Matrix was definitely a big one.
So Superman, that's your first.
Yes.
Which explains the Kryptonian link.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Both fictionally and non-fictionally.
Yes.
And biologically.
Yes, absolutely. I mean...
But, so that's your earliest thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So then what comes next?
Spider-Man came next, so that's kind of more my teenage years. Because again,
everyone has that.
Yeah.
Everyone has that Spider-Man. You can't not. It's the teenage thing. It's happening now. You know what I mean?
I think that's why the popularity of Spider-Man never goes away, because that generation can always relate to Peter Parker. And I think I just liked, when I was thinking of Superman, it was just all about, how it was the magical, it was almost what I call the Disney effect. Like, that's the effects it had on me as a kid. It was special, it was kind of magical, but then you start growing up, and the first part of real life, your real life, is your studies, crushes, responsibilities that you're starting to trying to live up to, and parents. And Peter Parker had all of those issues apart from being a superhero, so you could relate to him.
Yeah.
He's very relatable as a character, and kind of what most people do is they don't manage it well.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's their first time doing it, they try and do everything and end up falling somewhere.
Yeah, that's why you can relate to it so bad. Every iteration of Spider-Man has had that as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like you had to be reading comics to that point.
Yes.
Like, you just picked up a thing or watched the animated Spider-Man show was so good.
I mean, that
our animated Spider-Man.
Yes. The 90s animated Spider-Man.
The incredible soundtrack, which all 90s can't.
Yes.
That time.
I mean, that actually that was my first Marvel. So most people were into X-Men during that time, because that was being shown around the same time, right?
I think that was one of the first ones
It was. And Spider-Man they actually crossed over with the X-Men as well. They had those X-Men directly on the show. But I wasn't watching X-Men that much. I saw a few, but so that's why I don't know as much as a number of other X-Men fans. But Spider-Man, I was all 5 seasons, I was well into it. And that was my first Marvel. Like, whatever I thought was canon about Marvel came from that show first. Before I started reading comics.
He's still the voice actor for that Spider-Man. That's the voice I still hear.
Exactly. When you read in comics. Absolutely. He's like the Kevin Conroy.
I also equate the sound. Do you remember the Spider-Sense sound? The like that.
Till this day, it's still the best representation of Spider-Man. As far as I'm concerned.
Very good.
I mean, one day I dream of doing an edit. I've been thinking of different ways to do it. I want to do an edit of the Spider-Sense kind of thing, but that's the best. That was number one.
Okay, so you got Superman, you got Spider-Man. That's like your teenage years.
Yeah.
So then what comes after that? This is usually when people go hardcore. It's when they either fall off because people mock them and at school especially, because it's like, well, you're still reading, not watching that. I remember I had that. Or you go deep dive.
Yes, I went deep dive. I mean, growing up, peer pressure wasn't as much of an issue for me as a number of people. If I liked my thing, I liked my thing, and I've had bullying, verbal bullying and things like that, and especially people taking advantage of because I wasn't a small kid, but I would just try to be nice to everyone, even if they're not. And some people would take advantage of it. And I would just kind of keep on like that. But there were others who were into this kind of thing as well. And we had shared these common bonds. But, I would say my next fandom after that, these guys were my next favorite characters, like Black Panther and Iron Man, particularly Iron Man. We'll get there. But The Matrix was during my uni years. That was my Star Wars. The way that people are into Star Wars and things like that. This was my
That's
The
actually
Matrix.
a good.
That was my Star Wars.
That's a good way of putting it.
I didn't really get into Star Wars like a number of people did growing up. That came afterwards.
We were all kind of the in-between age for Star Wars. Because it was long enough ago that maybe your parents like showed it to you or whatever, but you could watch that at any age.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember watching it really young in primary school, like really young, like in primary school as well, like the hall, like watching it and that. And then you either fall in love or you just go, well,
it's a movie, yeah.
But yeah, Matrix. I remember watching Matrix on VHS.
Yeah.
Probably about that sort of age, and just being like,
I was totally. I mean, I remember I first watched them. I missed it in the cinema because I wasn't going to cinema that regularly at that age in '99 when it came out. But maybe about 6 months after. No, when it was first on. No, when it was on VHS. And I was actually on an RAF camp. And we were trying to choose what to watch one night, and someone suggested, everyone was telling me from what they knew about me, it's like, have to watch the Matrix, you're going to love it, you're going to really enjoy it. And I was like, I really do want to watch it, but like,
why were you on an RAF camp?
I used to be in the CCF, so I did RAF. I was in the Royal Air Force for CCF.
I genuinely, I consider us quite close. I had no idea about that.
Okay, you know what? You've just brought something up. You know, earlier today when we met up, and I said, I thought of something the other night, and I was like, because we didn't write this down as one of our note points, but it's something I wanted to hit on was how we all met.
Yeah.
And I can remember vividly the second time I met you because it was a really long evening and we connected over something properly strongly. Yes. And you were there as well.
Yes.
But I'm trying to remember the first time. Because it must have been so...
I remember the first time we didn't get to... It was very brief.
Yeah.
I still have the picture, I still have the picture.
That's the thing. So what was the first time we met?
The first time we met, I was wearing Luke Cage.
LFCC.
Yes, you were Batman. You were Nightwing. It was one of your earliest. One of your earliest cosplays. And
because I was trying to think, I was like, was it MCM? Was it MCM? That's why I can remember it.
Yeah, no, it was.
I
LFCC.
remember it was LFCC because
2017.
So I am thinking of the first time, and then we went to the pub.
Yeah.
See,
because I feel like, now I see what you mean. Because I feel like I've seen you before.
I remember thinking, it's Ugo. I know Ugo. And then you came to the pub we were at.
That's right.
I think it just went out on Facebook, where people were going. And we was like, we're there. And then we had the most ridiculous. Ellie, my wife, Ellie, that night she was just like, I just didn't see you. You were just talking to Ugo about Smallville. She was like, I might as well not have been there.
That's when our drama
That
started.
was when we had the most ridiculous Smallville chat.
It was.
Yeah. So do you see what I mean?
Yeah. I think I may have seen you. I feel like I may have seen you. I'm going to check the photos. I think I may have seen you at MCM. Earlier that year.
It must have been.
But just passing by. Because I remember the very first time it was just passing by.
And then it's probably one of those things where it's like, then you follow each other on Instagram.
Yes.
And then you feel like you know a person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I literally, that time I saw your costumes and I was just, this is amazing. I was just like, and I think for some reason, was you using them at any point, the bearded Batman or something? I don't know.
There is a bearded Batman, I think.
Oh, okay. You were known as the bearded Batman, though.
Yeah.
Everybody who
I just remembered. I remember it's like this awesome armored suit and it was
screaming and people going, Batman doesn't have a beard or whatever. He's not Batman. It doesn't matter if he has a beard.
You see, for me, it's what made yours special. The fact that you had that difference is what made it special.
I wish I could show you, but it's never happened.
And please never let it happen. But
that's why I eventually got the faceplate though, like the athlete.
I see. Yeah. No, but I loved it how it was, and I see. For me, when it comes to cosplay, I love it when there is a difference about them. Get things as accurate in terms of the cosplay, but when there's something different about it, it makes it stand out to be more.
This is what it goes back to in that. When you do that for a character, it's always good to kind of make it a little bit yours because if you suit it a bit more, people will be like, you're that character or you're this version of it. If you suit it rather than trying to go, I'm going to try and get this dead on. But if you tailor it to you, proportionally to you.
That's the thing. I'm always fighting with myself in my head. I want to look exactly like X, whatever. But then you're like, well, I kind of don't care about that part. That's me, and I'm cool with how I look as this version. So,
exactly.
But, so let's go back to because
the major.
The show has no format whatsoever, but we want to try and keep linear. So Matrix.
Matrix. So that was university time. So there's all the different stages. So we had when I was a teenager.
Just uni. That's quite
because
I was way too young to be seeing the Matrix when I saw the Matrix. I remember watching it. Because I think everyone our sort of age had the same thing where it was like, I don't know what this is,
Yes.
but everyone's watching it. So you
Yes.
have no idea what
Yeah.
it was. And
Yeah.
you watched it, and I just remember thinking, I am too young to be watching this, and this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
It was, I mean, so the first Matrix, I wasn't at uni yet when the first one came out. The second one came out, I was in my second year at uni.
okay,
Like,
so
the
yeah,
second
so
and
it would
third
have
one,
been
in fact.
like that, like in between like college
Exactly.
and uni. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so seeing that first one in the
that right
RAF
with
camp,
like-
then it was and I was completely floored. I mean, in terms of my background, I'm a software developer, I'm a coder, and so it appealed to me on that plane,
Oh, yeah.
right? So much, and I was understanding these other levels that they were reaching, like, you know, giving a cookie. I saw something else. It's like internet cookies. It's like she's almost kind of tracking him and like tracking what he's doing and things like that.
like
There were almost, oh my God, there were so many
I was just
levels.
sitting there going, oh my God, he's naked! He's getting goo over him!
All of that. Server farms.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
think of, when I see those fields, I think of like, you know, server farms and things like that. All the levels that they were trying to reach. And then on top of that, there was a philosophy part, which was, again, amazing to me. And like, you know, I was brought up as a Christian. And so there were all those levels there. And then there's the Kung Fu. And eventually, so my friend and I, a guy called DZ, we bonded at uni over Matrix. And we saw The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions a number of times. But
3 great films.
yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Just going to put that out
Thank
there.
you very
3
much.
great
I
films.
totally agree.
Come
That's
at
the
me.
thing. When I say that it was my Star Wars, it means I will fight people on the ones that I think is bad. I understand why they might not like them.
I get it.
But I'm always
Still
going
the
to.
Matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say as well, having watched the original Matrix recently, the first one, it still holds up.
Yes.
Genuinely, it still holds
Yes.
up. The action sequences.
Yeah.
Every
100%.
The human farms are terrifying. Stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that would get
that-
silly with age.
Yeah, yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Although,
It really
like
doesn't.
I say, I saw it young, but as I got older, that's why I fell in love with it more. Just because,
Yes.
like you said, the layers.
So many layers you pick out,
Ridiculous.
and I think the second movie where some people started to kind of drop out of it. Again, there were so many layers. I think the problem was the pacing of the movie. I wish they paced it better, because the action was, if you think about the action, it was excellent. If you think about the layers and philosophy about it and, you know, the beliefs and whatever, that was excellent. But we had a massive slow part of the scene, some like, you know, the Zion scenes and things like that. There was lots of slow parts put together and paced in a way that may have been confusing for people. And then lots of action, very fast, everything happening. And then all of a sudden, the sped up part of the architects at the end. If they paced it better, it would have been easy to understand.
I think Reloaded and Revolutions is like a Casino Royale and Quantum.
Yes.
They're like, you put them together because they're not, like,
Yes.
do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
exactly. 100%.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is the reason why I like Quantum, whereas a lot of people didn't really like. I like, because the links that they were, I was enjoying the links they were drawing together. There were a lot of links they were drawing together, and the Matrix Reloaded, after seeing it for the second or third time, I enjoyed it more. It's like, I get everything now. And so anytime someone had a problem with something, like, I could explain it, and they were like, oh, right. And, you know, enjoy it at a new level.
Do you think that is... do you think that is something you do if you love something, or can you actually defend something which you has quality? Because I know, like, people with their fandoms do get tribal. I do. Everyone does.
Yeah.
And you will defend it. Do you think it's more like you look at it rose-tinted glasses, or there is something good in that because you like it so much, you can see more?
I'd like to think that I can be pretty objective about things in general.
Yeah.
Like I say, I can understand why people wouldn't like the second or third movies, and I can list them out.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of the things that are great about it trumping that for me.
Yeah.
But looking at it objectively, I think there are still things that are so amazing about it. I mean, they effectively did the multi-franchise in the same universe thing before Marvel. The game. There are scenes.
Oh, the Path
exactly.
Neo game.
There are scenes.
That game is so good.
It's amazing.
I still play that game now. Like,
same here.
Even that game was awesome.
PS2 graphics,
But
still
again,
play it.
that's one of those things where that comes with the love. Like,
Yes,
I get it. Like,
yes,
probably
yeah.
technically not incredible now, but I just, oh man,
But there
that
are-
game was.
I have a bone to pick with people who said that PS2 graphics were terrible, because when you were that young,
Because they didn't have a PS1.
but when you were that young and the graphics were a bit blocky, you kind of filled in the background with your imagination, because when you turn it on again, you remember it being so good. And I definitely filled that in.
yeah,
my
100%.
imagination.
That's like
absolutely.
that's the rose tinted glasses.
Absolutely,
You look at
yeah.
it and you just fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I think that thing though comes with age as well.
Yes.
Because I remember as a kid, you do get, you're like, I love that. And then you get older and you're like, oh, it's not good, is it?
It's not as good. Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Funny thing is,
Like, I came out of Green Lantern trying. I was like, it's good, isn't it? I was like, it's good, isn't it?
yeah.
I was like, oh, well, it's not good.
I was similar because I loved Ryan. I've loved Ryan Reynolds since the days of Two Guys Ago on a Pizza Place, and so I just kind of think anything he's in is going to be awesome. And so again, I tried to like
when you
Green Lantern.
love something, you do. You kind of you want it to be good.
Yeah,
you want it to be good. And then I think that's why I say it comes with age. You get to a point and you watch something objectively because you've seen enough films, you've like read enough books, you know like good storytelling, good writing, good like cinema, and then you can be like, oh, Justice League.
Do you know what's? We'll get there.
Hashtag release the Snyder. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Once upon a time, I didn't care, but I really want this. Actually,
I was fully in. Like, that's a pipe dream. That's a fan.
This is going to come out a long way after we record this.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder just released the black suit. Release the Snyder Cut, and there's going to be a lot of bleach.
And someone cosplayed it first. So, with the beard too.
That's
but no,
what
So in terms of the multi-franchise thing, there were scenes in the games, both Enter the Matrix and Animatrix, which were filled in the gaps of the movies. So, in other words, the actual actors, so the Matrix Reloaded started from a certain point, but those same actors acted out scenes with the other characters, which you can only see if you play the game, see the cutscene, and it's actually slotted right to the storyline.
That's why, what's her name? Is it Niobe?
Yes.
Yeah. She's like a massive part.
She's a massive part.
You don't really get that watching the films, but she has a lot more backstory and stuff like that.
Well, Quentin Tarantino, I would like to bring into like the modern, he wrote a Django Unchained graphic novel. And apparently it's so much longer. He was like, I wanted to make, because Django Unchained is a long film. He was like, it was so much longer.
I didn't know that. I must have checked that out.
Yeah, please do.
I must check that out. I didn't know that. But that's the thing. There's so much more to the story.
Yeah.
And there's so many stories as well. The Animatrix was a great example of it. It's one of the best shorts. You can watch that again and again.
If you don't know what the Animatrix is, go to YouTube after this and go watch it.
You don't know what the Animatrix is, we don't want you here, so go away.
No, you really do.
Out it goes.
Basically, what I'm hoping is that the Wachowskis take takes inspiration from the Animatrix when they think about Matrix 4, because the Animatrix shows so many different avenues, so many different stories that you could go with the Matrix without going, this is the one, this is the typical linear thing. There's so many stories. I know
there's more, but oh man, I want to see Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I know.
I do and I don't. It's one thing.
You can still have him there.
Yeah,
he can still work
you
because
can still have.
Well, they just put the release date as the same day as John Wick 4.
Yeah,
and it's
but I'm sure like
the Keanu month.
I don't know what they're thinking. I'm sure one of them is going to move.
He could definitely do a cameo. He did a cameo in the SpongeBob.
I'm sure they're thinking one's got Keanu in, the other's got Keanu in. It's a win-win.
Which way? Yeah, it's true. It's literally watching 2 movies that night.
Yeah. So, right, where do we want to go next? Oh, I think. So we've covered you'll be on again. You are 100% going to be on this show again because we do this all the time. So it's just like now we can just do this.
We could do it like this, exactly.
Because I said this to Tim today. We were trying to think about like what we wanted to go over, like your first episode. I'm like, there's so much stuff we can talk about. So we just do talk about anyway. But it's about you, and it's about people to like get to know you that don't maybe.
Yeah.
And so. What was the jump from like fandom to cosplay? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, actually. Let me phrase it better because you might have a different, I think, from knowing you. Did cosplay come with your first con experience? Or did you go to a con without cosplaying first?
I went to so the first con that I went to was Hyper Japan, which kind of isn't really a con. It was Hyper Japan 2013.
Is that Hyper Japan's in this country?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And it's more of a no. That's Japan Expo.
See, I always get confused.
Yeah.
That's why I double checked.
Yeah.
Neither of which in Japan.
Neither. I know. That's what. Whenever I'm writing Japan Expo, I always have to write Paris, just to make people realize I did not go to Japan. But it's a celebration of Japanese culture, which I love. So I had had a love of Japanese culture and, and teaching myself the language and things like that. And so, went to Hyper Japan and I dressed up as Urahara Kisuke, which is a character from Bleach. And that was my first. Say again?
Say that again for me.
Urahara Kisuke.
Yeah, baby.
I think as well that we don't want to gloss over the fact that Ugo said he taught himself Japanese. Let's not gloss over that.
I mean,
I'm not surprised.
I'm not. I'm not fluent. I'm not. I can get around.
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't matter.
Don't
it doesn't matter.
Harakasuke?
Urahara Kisuke.
Harakasuke? See? Don't let
Someone just vomited watching this.
I know,
trying to listen to yourself. I was like, what?
He just lost all Japan viewership.
So
that was my first con, which is MCM, I went just wearing an Iron Man t-shirt, much like this. I think it just had like a arc reactor thing. And
so this was first ever con, was
exactly. Yeah. And we saw people and their costumes, taking pictures of them. I was seeing how they were interacting with each other and having fun. And I was like, that's something that I would want to do, but I thought I would be a bit silly if I was. Yeah, literally. I thought I'd be a bit silly if we're doing it. But after seeing that and seeing the creative ways that people were doing it, we said, next time we're doing costumes. And that was it. So the next time, dressed up, which is my first cosplay, Miles Morales Spider-Man. That's still in my closet somewhere. It doesn't fit.
I was going to say, does it fit?
No, this is before I went to the gym a lot. It's not. If I look at it now, it's not a good. I mean, I would now be cynical over like the lack of, say, a face mask or the way that the eyes were shaped and things like that. Back then, I didn't care. I was I'm Spider-Man. I was just really happy. Did some shots and things like that. And then once again, I saw, because I bought that, right? I saw people being really creative with their cosplays and, the way they're putting it together, whether it's complete building or altering and things. So I was like, okay, I want to do a bit more next time and not just buy it outright. And so the next one was my very first Black Panther. That was 2014, I think, at LFCC. And it was based on the comic book, because there was obviously no movie at the time. It was a T'Challa wearing like sort of gold sort of thing.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah. And that, it was made out of, I just bought sports lycra. I got a vampire's cloak, which I used because he had that kind of cone-like thing. Yeah. So that worked perfectly. I bought, cheap jewelry from the store, like kind of women's jewelry for the necklace and things like that, and the belt. And managed to give it the look. And I thought people wouldn't recognize because I didn't have a mask, but people recognized it. And I was like, wow, like maybe I could be more creative, and just continued.
It doesn't matter where you are. There's going to be someone at a con that knows who you are, no matter what you dress as. Because that's the level of people
that's
at con.
That's kind of the best thing about a con, is that it's so many fandoms who really, really are enthusiastic about it, just brought into one place, and someone will know. Yeah. Someone's going to get it.
Yeah.
When that guy was dressed as Smallville Clark Kent.
We made his day. Yeah, we absolutely made his day. It's literally just a t-shirt and a jacket.
Dude. Yeah, because he was like, "You guys know."
Yeah, he was so happy. We walked by. It was like, "Hey, look, it's Clark. Let's go and say hi." And he was ecstatic that we recognised it, even though it's just a t-shirt and a jacket. And
he probably thought he was being all sly and undercover. Like,
I think he told his friend as well. Yeah. It was like, look, someone recognised my thing. Yeah, no, that is what I loved about it. Like, I didn't realize that would happen. And I was recognizing it when I recognize ones that are especially obscure. I make a point to shout it out to them so that they know. So I got it.
Everyone loves an obscure cosplay that you get. You see it and you go, "Oh my god, yes!"
Exactly.
People do some really fantastic ones. Did you see the guy who...
They're all coming on here.
Yeah.
I don't know half of them yet. They're all coming on.
They will.
Everyone saw the Deadpool 2 trailer where it was Bob Ross painting. I think it was... A con was at the end of that month.
Yeah.
And someone Deadpooled it
they
up.
Were there.
And we just had a knees on everything. I was like, that's fantastic.
It's brilliant.
The speed some people turn them around at as well.
And the Guardians one, someone did Guardians of the Galaxy 2, spoilers, when he does I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Someone did.
Oh, I remember that. I remember there was a con just after.
Yeah. Craig did an amazing one. His Yondu dressed as Mary Poppins. It is exquisite. That is so everything, because Mary Poppins again is just my childhood. And he had the proper thing. It was brilliant.
First con was MCM.
Yes.
and that was casual, like Iron
just
Man t-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah.
And then first cosplay con was Hyper Japan.
No, first cosplay con.
Like where you went full all out.
Was MCM. It was another MCM, and I was Spider-Man.
Miles Morales. Sorry.
Yeah, Miles
You
Morales,
said
Spider-Man.
that.
Yeah.
Because I think you said about the Hyper Japan one.
Yeah, the Hyper Japan was
afterwards.
So that actually came before, but I didn't really. So I was going for, it was kind of a Japanese expo, but I tend not to count it because I didn't really make much of an effort, and it was for the Japanese.
It's like a half and half.
Yeah, it's trying to go looking like something Japanese sort of thing, and I actually saw people cosplaying it, and I was like, oh, okay. So, people going full out, including the franchise that I was cosplaying from. And then that's where I got the rest of it. So the green with the white and green hat, cosplay. So that's when I started getting everything else afterwards. The swords, the gaiter sandals, those kind of clogged sandals, and
walking in there all day. Fair play to.
Oh my god, this is really bothering me.
It's fine. You're going to be some really strange edits where you'll just be talking, and then all of a sudden it'll clip like that. To be fair though, 2 cameras though, so you could.
Yeah, exactly. How are we looking?
Yeah,
let's all wave. Hey. I was just to make sure that the microphones are still working.
So nice. Sandals.
Gaiter sandals, yes. Those, I mean, the first time I wore them was, I kind of took, 2016, I didn't do any cosplay. I kind of took a year out, having some personal time. And then I came back, sorry, that was 2015. 2016, I went back to a couple of cons, and I was just going by myself and just like, let me just go and have fun.
Yeah.
I did Luke Cage, then when no one knew who I was. The only people who I met and kind of kept in touch with was Paul, which is how we became good friends. But yeah, it was only after that then I got the gaiter sandals, and it was a challenge walking them. They essentially, gaiter sandals, you may have seen them in some anime, they're like 2 blocks and a block on top. That's your sandal. And obviously so it was every time walking down the stairs, because that was at the time, it was Tobacco Docks.
The Tobacco Docks. Yeah.
So going down those stairs, I was literally just kind of like, and then meanwhile this year I'm full on sprinting in them, like doing anime runs and things like that. I've just got so used to them now, and doing jumps and everything. Like,
But you've been to a lot of cons abroad and overseas, haven't you?
Yeah.
So when did you first go? Because that's a big jump as well.
Yeah.
To go from like cosplaying where you live to cosplaying further. Because we've never. We haven't done that yet, have we?
Never.
I say we're one person because we are.
You are. You are an entity.
Yeah. But we haven't done that yet.
The first time, so I've always once went to my first con, and that time I knew of San Diego Comic Con, but I didn't realize there were cons in the UK. Right, exactly. It was like, again, myself and my ex were just like, would love to go there. Tried the lottery thing a couple of times, didn't work. The second time thought, okay, you know what, if we don't make that, then at least maybe we'll try New York Comic Con. So we were supposed to go on holiday to New York, and we just kind of mixed the Comic Con with it as well. And so that's how that came about, and it was great. It was amazing. And I went again, 2016. I didn't know anyone. And so, but it was still really fun because I love New York. And then it was last year, as end of 2017, I told myself, I really want to see what other cons are like, because I had started
going so good with dates. Everything you're saying, you're like 2015. I cannot remember anything like that.
Yeah. My memory sucks, but I have structures.
That's the big differentiating quality.
Maybe that's
it says a lot about brain cells. Everything you're saying, you're like giving dates for.
Do you know what?
I remember the first date of my first con. Like, no way.
The worst thing is we got into it for drinking, and now we can't remember it. Sorry, go on.
No. I mean, to be honest, I remember. I have a bad memory, but I have methods of memory. So I have a ways to
the Sherlock
work
Mind
out.
Palace.
Say again?
The Sherlock Mind Palace.
Something like that. I just think, for example, I know that 2015 I didn't do any cosplay at all. So I know that's a really.
That one sticks in your mind.
Yeah. That one sticks in my mind. I know that 2016 is when I went back into cosplay. I know 2017 was my very first photo shoot, where I was invited to do Defenders photo shoot.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that cosplayers did this. Yeah.
That's not that long ago, but that seems like, because we've known each other so long, that seems like ages ago.
Yeah.
Early
2017.
2017, exactly. So 2017 was big for me because that was the first time cosplay actually became more of a full-time hobby, so to speak. So that's why it sticks out, and that's why I know that the year before. So I do it by methods of working out. And the year before, I just kind of started getting back into cosplay. I know the year before that I didn't do any.
You got like reference points. So going, I went to school at that time to that time, so I must have been that age when I did this.
Exactly. That's how I remember the Matrix dates as well. That's how I know the year that the Matrix sequels came out. But yeah, so.
I remember you getting a lot of love for your Luke Cage, and I remember, like you said, that's when we first met.
Yes,
and I remember because you had the big chains, the yellow tee, and that was when you had your head shaved as well, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I used to always.
It's so weird now when I look at you. I'm like,
that's how we first.
When we first met, I always had, and I always kept it shaved in general. The year, so 2000.
You know what changed it?
I now was that.
It was Black Panther.
It was Black Panther. It was. 100%. Yeah. But, now that actually reminds me of when I think I may have met you. I think 2016 LFCC was when we met, and I didn't stay around afterwards to do. I didn't know anyone, and I think that's when I saw you. I was Luke Cage then as well.
That's what I remember, and I remember being up the top.
Yes,
up the top, around that corner bit.
Exactly. Yeah,
and because you had a shot on the the beam, like you was holding up the beam.
Yep,
and I remember that.
Yeah. The beam. So that was after. That was actually the year after, but. But for that year, it was a brief
so maybe
one.
that was the Smallville night that we met.
Yes,
we chatted for ages about Smallville.
That's right. Because
I
did it. So I did Luke Cage in 2016 LFCC and Luke Cage 2017 LFCC. But the second time, I knew more people, and more people knew who I was. The first time, I knew no one. I saw Paul. I saw Michael, and we had this cool little mini Avengers because we just kind of found each other. And like we did this picture. It's like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, after doing Luke Cage that year, I didn't realize. I mean, it was the reason I did it was because I needed something easy. I didn't want to work hard. I needed something easy. It's like, oh, Luke Cage, that would be a good one to do. Found sort of plastic chains, did a bit of weathering on it.
Those chains
got shades. I did not realize. I had no idea. I wasn't prepared for the reaction that happened. And then I was asked to be on the photo shoot. I was thinking, how did you even find me?
It does help elevate a cosplay when you have like a likeness to the character like that.
Yeah.
And then you just, like you say, like that was quite easy for you to do.
Yeah.
But then you put it all together and it resonates with people and they're like, oh, and they run over to you and stuff. And
that really, I mean, I still remember the night before, or was it the morning actually, I took a vest and basically the matches started burning it because I was trying to think of like, I want to have like, bullet hole kind of like shirts, but I want it to look a bit more authentic. It's like, what if I actually like burned it to see, so it would have the ash and stuff like that. So I tried it on that vest. I still have it because I thought I'll do more experiments on it later. And then I did it to the yellow t-shirt that I bought, and then that was a thing. I didn't realize, and I've started to notice that there are others who did it, but maybe didn't go that far. Maybe that's part of why it resonated. So by the time I did the photo shoot at the beginning of 2017, then more people started to know who I was, because obviously those guys who knew people, when they share the photos, they're like, oh, who's that Luke Cage? And then maybe follow me. So that's kind of how I started to kind of get to know people.
That's so funny, because I do think of first meeting you, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
But then I think of you so much as an Iron Man cosplayer, because you love Iron Man. That's like your massive thing. Yeah. But then you've got Black Panther in there as well. So obviously why you've both got these like suits on display here today. You've got quite a lot of cosplays that connect with you, I link you to. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like in quite a short span of time. Yeah.
I think I'm good at expressing my passion for a certain character or thing. I feel like that's where my, when you were asking, I was thinking about that when you were asking me about the Matrix thing, about the rose-colored glasses. I think one of my gifts is expressing my passion for something, and then I can almost transfer that. The number of people I've converted, whether it's Matrix or Marvel or a thing like that, it's amazing. Or anime, like people who never thought they would watch it. There's one person who was just kind of like, iffy about Marvel movies, and like a few months later, was kind of asking, when is the next Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season coming out? Of all things, we're gone past the movies now. It's like, you know. So I think so. Luke Cage was that first. Luke Cage. At that time, the Luke Cage series hadn't even come out yet.
No.
It was very much. I was doing the comic book one. I didn't have that much of a passion for Luke Cage. I just identified him from the comics that I'd read and things like that. But when Black Panther was coming out, one of the reasons I really wanted to do it more was, one, I didn't want, Luke Cage was very easy to do. And I wanted something that was creatively a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Right? That was one. Like, so I didn't want to be just because I happen to look a bit like him, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Two, the Black Panther trailer.
Before,
not the Black Panther trailer, the Civil War trailer. Sorry.
Well, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, when you said, because like his introduction, into the MCU, that was just. I mean, we all know like that the film just
it's my favorite.
Exploded.
But he's also manages to keep your attention when you've got like a really good story going on with Captain America and Bucky. And also, he's in a big cat suit. Let's not get around. But he's intimidating.
And they made it not look silly. It's a really fine line. This is why I respect the Russos so much. Like the fact that they did that. And it was that got me excited to do, and actually comics, to do Black Panther. And I got to, again, try and experiment with different things like I did before when I did T'Challa. And so I thought I need to grow my hair. And that was actually the first time I did a casual cosplay. So I have this like medallion with, it's actually a drill.
Like the shawl thing.
Well, even before that, I did a casual with he's going to kill me for forgetting his name.
I almost forgot.
He's not watching.
Whatever it is. There was an entire part in your Instagram where you rocked the hell out of it, but you were doing like Black Panther costumes, or just like the white ones, the black ones. They looked really good. By the way. But
I started off with just the black shirt, like you know what he wore in Civil War, which is just kind of like a black shirt, and so it was very simple. And I cosplayed with a Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff, and I was just had that with, you know, and then we did a Civil War shoot, again, just the casual. And so I started thinking like, I saw the trailer, it's like, I want to do all of those costumes. And so that show that you mentioned, the purple one, what did I do for that? I bought an Indian shawadi, which is just kind of like, you know, the kind of thing that Indians wear to like weddings or something like that. Cut it up, and then I had a tailor. And then I found the pattern, had a tailor sew that pattern onto it, just to make it look close. I was not bothered about accuracy. I wasn't an accuracy guy. I just wanted to evoke the character enough for people to think. So and that's how.
I remember you did a lot of like casual cosplays of T'Challa as well, like in the evening, like the evening wear and stuff.
Such a good idea.
I just loved doing it. I think that's how I ended up getting associated with that character. And then the movie came out, and I also made myself look closer to him. My hair had grown more, and I was doing the twists and everything. And then again, in terms of the transition to Iron Man, I'd always wanted to do Iron Man even before, but I didn't have the skill. I actually tried in New York, without foam or anything, just putting together, motorcycle armor and different sort of things, which is how I got my first Iron. Not this.
Is that your first Iron Man one?
It was black and everything. I got EL wire. Because I wanted the.
If there is anyone, someone said to me, someone at a con that is like still going full out on their costume, it's always you. Like you're in your hotel room, like putting stuff together, and
oh my god!
I think remember once between him and Katia.
I remember. I remember once I had a conversation with you, and you were flying to a con, and you was like, "I just finished painting my armor, and I've got to put it in the suitcase, and I'm worried about it sticking."
I remember this.
Because you were painting it, and it's not like you were I remember you were going to America. That's a long flight. So that's a lot of jet lag to be up all night painting armor before.
You going to WonderCon?
I did, So in terms of the travel, towards the 2017, because I got to know people, I went to more UK cons. I started to realize there were more around. And then towards the end of that year, I was like, I really want to explore some more. I'd met Brandon, Fireforge Cosplay. who is the living embodiment of Luke Cage.
Yeah, he's
the
awesome.
actual living embodiment. And we messaged, because we both were listed in CBR for top 15 Defenders cosplay of the year or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so that's how we got to kind of chatting. And it was like, I was like, I've always wanted to go to some other con. I've been to New York one before, but I really want to see some others. And so we planned to go to Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. And so then I planned 5 overseas cosplays for 2018. Like what I thought I could afford.
Cosplay so hard.
Oh, I'm telling you. Well, it started off with Tokyo at the end of 2017 in December.
Oh.
That's that. Yeah, that was the first one. And then
just Tokyo.
just off the cuff. Yeah.
Just Tokyo. Because if I go to America, I might as well go to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tokyo was. I'd been to Japan earlier that year in 2017 outside cosplay. I was doing a lot of traveling anyway. And so I wanted to combine it. Like, well, I loved it. It was kind of my escape. Even before cosplay, that was my escape. And then in 2018, I thought, okay, I need to reduce the amount of travel I'm doing, but I might try and combine it with cosplay. So the times when I decide to go away somewhere, let me make it so I'm going to a con. And that's how it happened.
That is a good way of doing it, I suppose. If you're going overseas, make the most, don't just go there for the con. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but it's a good benefit to have some social time.
So, I mean, in 2018, I didn't really have any holidays per se. Just cons. So I went away for cons. I went to Seattle for Emerald City Comic Con, Anaheim for WonderCon. What else is that?
You say that's the best one. I've heard that's the best one.
I was gonna get to this. Like, you've got, like, if we had to put, like, this is obviously subjective.
Yeah.
But would you say has been your favourite overseas con?
So, 2018, people used to ask me that question, and I always found that a really difficult question to answer because I liked cons for different reasons. I like Seattle because they're extremely friendly. I like some other cons because they're more intimate and like smaller. I like London because MCM London because you get to see all the people that, different reasons. So it's hard to say which one's best. I went to Dragon Con last year, and it's like, this is an easy question to answer. Literally, no, not subjectively, objectively speaking, Dragon Con is the best con, and it's funny.
Which is in
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
Someone told me this earlier that year, and I was like, but I heard San Diego was the one to beat and stuff like that.
He just slapped you around the face. How dare you, sir?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then this is something from the States telling me, it's like, no, San Diego is the best in terms of media, like, because you've got all these studios coming in to present their things or whatever, but they're very crowded and stuff. They're meant for the commerce side of things, not really for the cosplayer. Dragon Con, that's catered towards the cosplayer.
See,
that's the difference.
That's a very good thing.
It is. We need one here. When I came out from that con, my mind was thinking of all the ways to try and start up something similar here. Like, I was just literally, my mind was spinning. I was talking to Chris about it.
I know you have your own one. It's UgoCon. But imagine starting a con. That is such a massive.
That's a massive.
It is a massive undertaking. But this is the thing. Always, I mean.
Oh, someone's got to do it.
Well, because I've thought about it now for a while, I've thought. No, I was thinking always start small. You do it. One of you do it. No, I wouldn't start a big con. That's not the way I would do it. I would start small. You see, the great thing about Dragon Con, the reason it works so well, is not a particular venue where the con is happening, where all the merchandise and things are, like MCM. MCM, we have Excel and all these things happening. Now, imagine if, okay, let me bring it to London. Imagine if it's in the Novotel, like the con is actually, so the whole hotel is booked out, including the Ibis next door. And now imagine there's also
other hotels are available.
Yes. It's just all the hotels. But imagine those two and all the other, the Ibis Styles, all the other hotels in that area.
Yeah.
That's where the con was. And they booked out the hotels for that. So we are, so then there's no beginning or end for the con. You're just there interacting with other people who love the film.
You see him reflect, you went,
well, taking it back.
Look at me like, there's no beginning.
You go for breakfast.
Drink forever.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon. Right? You're just sitting there just like using mind control. No, but you're there in maybe your casual cosplay as you go to have breakfast or something like that. You might decide to go to the nearest, whatever it happens to be. You'll go together, you come back. There will be maybe some events like talks and things like that. There might be people presenting. presenting, maybe some celebrities presenting, but
maybe some podcasts presenting.
maybe some, yeah, absolutely. But in terms of like merchandising and things like that, all the more capitalist type things in the basement.
Yeah.
So that in DragonCon, you could still buy things and whatever, but that's in the basement. You have to go down to that, or even getting autographs from celebrities and things like that. It's in the basement. The celebrities want to be up on the floor enjoying with you guys. So you're taking pictures around. So imagine there's like the lobby and stuff was like a lot bigger, and it's like a big hall, and you're taking pictures and things like that. Similar to what you normally see in the con, but again, it's happening in the hotels. You're not restricted to there. You choose whatever you want. In the nighttime, it becomes a party area. So it's basically, and that's where the party is. And people in their cosplays party and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. And you can choose to party or just chill out in someone's room and just like and have fun
that's
there.
the thing. What is for you the best part about a con? Because I know a big part of it for us is so you've got cosplay, yeah. Mm-hmm. We all love, it's undoubtedly anyone that comes on this show loves cosplay, right? Yeah. We all love building stuff. We love making stuff. For me and Tim, I know we always say, because we don't always get involved in a lot of big group like shop getting together, because we just love going to cons and meeting people and talking to them. Yeah. And that's kind of what a big part about this YouTube and podcast thing is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's for you is the best part about a con?
This.
Yeah.
This. So doing this with people there is what brings me to con. Yeah. I love seeing people's costumes. I love like having my costumes and get to show them and get to see theirs. It's as time has gone on, I've ended up creating groups. I didn't start off that way, but as I have ideas for things and people might join on, and then as time has gone on, people have enjoyed what they've seen from us, and so they want to take part as well, and so sometimes it grows. And so now each time I think, okay, I want to do this cosplay, let me see if there are other people who want to be a part of it and things like that. Otherwise I'm fine doing stuff for myself. But what I really look for, and I really enjoy shooting and editing and stuff like that, but what I really enjoy is afterwards where we get to talk about the things that we've seen, talk about cosplays, talk about, movies, TV shows, anything. That is the bit that I live for.
That's kind of what is great about, that is kind of what is great about con, is that you have got a collection of people who are just passionate about something, and you will find common ground somewhere. You will find common ground among those people, which is nice. Yeah. And also, I will say, in England, we're kind of, what we do really well is take the piss. Yes. Like that, we're very good at that. Yes. Like that's our thing. But it's kind of nice to sometimes go, oh, they're just enthusiastic about this. Yeah. That's a very nice gear change.
Yeah. Literally. Imagine, I mean, seriously, if you see the people at DragonCon like partying at night and things like that, they're people who love to party, but they're wearing SpongeBob costumes or DuckTales costumes or whatever. Like they literally don't care.
Yeah, it still sticks in my head the first time we went to the pub after MCM, and I just remember walking into the Fox and people were raving.
Yes,
like it was the end of the world. Mm-hmm. But it was to the Pokemon theme song.
Yes.
And I was just like, this is incredible.
I had that same thing. Yeah. When the Fox was bearable. I used
the pubs are available?
Yeah. Exactly the same thing. And in fact, that's how we met. We first met because he took a photo of my Frozen. I didn't know him. We just, but in terms of Frozen. Me and I've never finished it. I need to finish it. But so that was in May, work out the year from other things, 2017. In May 2017, did the Frozone, he took a photo, but then I saw him again at the Fox at the OctoberCon, and we were just chatting. Power Rangers came on, people like that, and we were both dancing to it, and we were both just kind of like, we were two,
That is one powerful thing.
But it was just the fact that there was no embarrassment. We're about the same age, and we're just unashamedly just doing that, and I loved that. I absolutely loved that.
Can I just say, with this,
no, you may not.
Well, then fine. No, that's it. But with this kind of this fandom becoming more and more mainstream. I mean, we all noticed, like at MCM, it's becoming way more mainstream.
It's always getting busier.
I know people now who would never be into anything like anything you would consider nerdy who are now way bigger Game of Thrones fans, or way bigger this fan, or people like come out of the woodwork. And do you remember when we were going back on the train and there was a guy with his friends who just was like,
oh yeah, we were talking like really nerdy, and you could just see this guy on the train, like with all his mates, like say you're all his mates, and he's just sitting there looking at us, being like, kind of like just more like slowly, like what you guys been doing? What you been? What are you talking about? Like,
really wants to.
Everyone's a nerd about something.
Yeah.
But everyone's a nerd about something.
He did not project any sort of nerd vibes. You would have thought like just out with his mates, and his mates went and sat somewhere else, and he come and spoke to us, and he was like, "Yeah, they don't get it, but this is what I think about Joker. This,
it's
that."
within everyone's
a nerd about something.
Exactly, 100%. We actually, it's funny. We were doing. We had a paid gig earlier this year, and it was a group of 5 of us, just like 5 Avengers, and we were just chatting afterwards, like after the first day, and there was this guy who, again, was similar story, overheard us. He literally just joined our table, actually interrupted the conversation. Just like, I just want in on your conversation. It's like, my friends there are boring. Like he was into Star Wars, and we just had this it was quite funny because they were a bit drunk, but yeah.
We usually are.
That is the other thing that I love doing at con.
Well, that's how we started, so it's not like we're gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is going to be a difficult one. So, I couldn't answer this question.
Yeah.
But what is your favourite cosplay that you've done?
Oh my word.
I feel awful asking that question. Because it's like when people say, what's your favourite film? It's like,
favourite music.
That's
you
an
go,
impossible
how long
question.
you got? Or favourite music.
How long you got?
It depends on how I feel on that day.
Yeah.
Well, you've chose to bring your Iron Man and your Black Panther today.
Yeah.
Which is kind of evident.
Yeah.
One thing you're most proud of?
Yes. So here's the thing. My pride in Iron Man, maybe not necessarily this one, but I think maybe an older. I did the Mark 85 earlier on this year.
Is that your one before this?
Yes. Yeah. Which is like the movie from the Avengers Endgame. It's the first time I attempted a movie one. You see, I thought I'm a young builder, so to speak. I only started, my first build was July last year. I started with comic book armor to make it simpler for me, so I don't have to do so much detail. And then
those Iron Man movie suits. I just like, you look at me
like seriously, I was just like, where do I start? I'm a noob. I don't know where to start.
But I'll start at this bolt.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, when I saw when I first saw the first design of the Mark 85. I was, and it looked like the classic armor. But this looks amazing. I really need to at least just try. And so I kind of did, if you like, a cartoon version of it. And then it evolved as each con came along. I made a point of, I don't want to try and do something new. I want to just keep improving it. And it looks closer and closer to the movie one. Something that I could be happy about. That may be the one I'm most proud about from a build perspective. Because
I was going to say that showcase for me. That showcase, and like people can go and see it on like your Instagram and stuff, and you shout out all your handles and stuff. When we finish up, but that for me showcases how far you've come.
Yes,
you have come really far. Like you and I have had building days and stuff, and just messed around and shared tips and things like that.
Yeah,
but that for me showcases how far you've come in building. Because like you say, you're a relatively young builder. But you've come a long way in your build.
Can I give a shout out to one of your cosplays, which is it's not as in depth as like your Iron Man, but which I think is fantastic because it looks so good and you just put it together. Your Heimdall.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what?
And I remember that was like a combination. Like, didn't like someone give you a sort of like?
I'll tell you how that one came together. You see, the thing that's the thing. There are, I think, Iron Man, Black Panther, and Heimdall showed 3 different ways. Maybe they're my favorites from different perspectives. This in terms of building from scratch.
Yeah.
That in terms of movie accuracy and alteration. I started off with a base suit and I did puff paint for the first time. I stuck all these things, find different ways. The claws, they came from, I bought children's Black Panther claws, ripped out the rubber.
We were setting it up, I was like, I don't remember seeing that because it's like...
you just kind of like...
So you haven't worn it in a while as well.
Yeah. So, all the work I did on that to make it accurate, and there's that. But with Heimdall, that was a bigger... Remember I mentioned about the first Black Panther cosplay, just in terms of bringing things together. Heimdall did in a week, and it was Kisa and I talking, thinking like, we were talking about how much we love Ragnarok because that Ragnarok was all the rage. It's such a brilliant movie.
Really good.
Always puts a smile on my face. And I wanted to be part of the Ragnarok crew. And I thought, someone had suggested Heimdall before, but I saw the armor and thought, that is a lot of undertaking. And even if I had the skills to build that kind of thing, I think you need the passion to go behind it. And I wasn't that passionate about the Heimdall character, but I liked the way he was portrayed in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You know, I liked Ragnarok. And so I thought, you know, she mentioned she had a crew with Paul as Thor and they had a Loki. And so I thought, okay, I really want to be a part of this. Like, maybe we could do Heimdall. And we started talking about it. It's like, how can we put it together? And we thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it my plan. And she said she'd done Heimdall before. And so she had a sword. And she said
That's
she
what
can
I'm
lend
thinking
me,
of.
so she could lend me that. It's like, oh, great. Okay, that's the sword taken
And then
care
didn't
of.
someone else give you the wig? Did the wig?
She gave me her wig that she used for Walking Dead.
You look so good in that wig. That's why I'm thinking of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So she made that for herself for Walking Dead, and she gave me those. So that took care of those two. And so that weekend before the con, I went to the shops and was just trying to had blank slate, just think of how I can put the things together. The cape is a curtain.
I remember you saying.
Yeah, it's a big mass. I was trying to look for what would work. I found different things. It wasn't quite getting the right look, but this curtain had the right kind of brown. And then I undid a lot of the threading to make it look kind of worn and stuff like that. And, kind of frayed it, kind of cut it and stuff and tied it around. The top was from Primark. I just cut off the sleeves, and because it had the right kind of reddish brown sort of thing, and it was, it's sort of relatively tight to my body. The trousers I bought again. I think it was kind of like a pirate-ish kind of sort of brown sort of trousers. Bought boot covers. The gauntlets I'd used for something else. I think for Mordo. And gloves, fingerless gloves, I think. And
cosplayers love recycling.
The amount.
We love it.
It has made me a worse hoarder than I even used to be. It's terrible. I've used, exactly.
Oh
so,
my God, I've got so many boxes just full of...
just old stuff. So and then once I got the contacts, it was there, and I was surprised at the reaction to it.
A cosplayer's secret weapon.
Yeah.
And so that's an Aquaman cosplayer as well.
Yeah, but they make such a difference.
I've worn them so often now that they're so comfortable.
Yeah.
But
also getting the right ones is
that's what I mean. The right contacts for the right cosplay is killer. And what you was just saying as well, I don't know if anyone's listening to this, but if there is anyone listening to this and there are young cosplayers listening to this, what you was just saying about that is so important. You get, especially when you first get into cosplay and you're looking at all this expensive stuff and you're like, as well, people will try and pressure you into buying expensive kits or prints or that. Like you just said, your cape was a curtain. The amount of stuff that I get from charity shops or just cheap high street stores or things like that, recyclable, usable things, is so easy.
Do you know how
it's such an important thing.
100%. And that's the thing. I'm always geared to, I want to get the likeness of this character. I want to evoke this character rather than I want to look exactly like this character. I will try to make it look as exact as I can. But I will try not to obsess over it and try to give the likeness. The number of DMs I got over the following year about how I put to...
You beat me by one.
I get both of these references. I like it. That's even a double reference to all of us.
In a reference.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, that's too much.
Reference whirlwind. I had a genuine conversation in my head where I was like, do it, yeah.
Should do it, yeah.
Sorry, God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you ever have one of those moments, do it because I can edit it.
I'll do it again. It's going in.
Giggity. It's going in. So,
we're bad now.
I know,
Be us
terrible.
on top of each other.
Is there like a rating for what kids can watch?
I know. I said to Tim, I'm gonna have to just, as long as I bleep out swear words, I think would be cool. That's a good. That's a good, because I can't not swear.
Yeah.
I know that's judge me. I don't care.
These guys are terrible.
I don't care.
What kind of role models are these guys?
Judge me. I don't care. I cannot not swear. So as long as I bleep it out, it's
that
fine.
actually rhymed. Judge me.
Yeah.
I cannot not
I'm
swear.
a f***ing puppet.
Right, yeah. So no, what I was saying about the DMs, people asking me about how I put the costumes together. They were literally, "Oh, where did you get this? Where did you get that?" Like,
I love that. Yeah. I love that when someone's like, "How did you do this? What's secret?" And you're just like, "Just do this."
Just
like this
things.
Easy, really.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's literally, I mean,
I think we're all in the same boat as well. Where it's like, this is such an important part of cosplay. I'll tell anyone how I made something, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like I hate it when it's. I get being restrictive. I get it. I get people.
If you're making money off something, then I can
there's that element to it as well.
If it took you like a really long time to work something out, which doesn't come easy, and you could market that, okay,
because even that I would even say. But if it was something that you're making money out of, like let's say if you're a builder and or maybe you've made this pattern that is. And you're selling this pattern, then you can say, you could just buy it from there. And then obviously you can do whatever you want with it when you have it or whatever it happens to be. But otherwise, I mean, to be honest, I don't have any secrets. I'm not like a wizard. Like there's nothing that I've done.
Do you want to test that?
We know you, right? We know you really well.
I mean,
those glasses go black and you just neuralize.
I make this look good. No, but I mean, like there is nothing that I've done that no one can't do quite easily. I've literally seen people start out with foam for their first time and do something so much better. But they'll look at me and say like, "Oh, but you've done a whole Iron Man suit." It's like, yeah, but you've done this gauntlet with all this detail. The shape looks great and stuff like that. I can't yet do something like that. What you're seeing is the time put into doing this whole thing and maybe a slight obsession into making it all happen. That's all it is.
That's fine.
It's nothing that's difficult.
And that's the thing. I mean, that's what I love about you is that you're not obsessed with being the best Iron Man cosplayer.
I can't be.
Like, you can be. And one day you will be. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. And because that's what I always go on about, like how far your work's come. And that's not to say that any of your work has ever been bad, because it hasn't been. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
It's a process,
but your progression is insane. Like, it's so good.
But that's what's good about cosplay as well, is because when you start off, your thing won't be the best, but you'll have so much fun. And if you're going for the right reasons and you still enjoy it, you'll have just as much fun in the one that gets better. Like you'll feel.
Oh, there's so much pleasure in looking back at old.
That is the one time. I mean, I remember that the very first time I brought out Iron Man. I remember you. I saw you, and you were like, "Dude, you've done a great job." Like, your first armor. I was sweating. I was so disappointed
with
how it came out.
Nightwing.
Was that LFCC?
No, it was LFCC. It was when
is that when you did your show?
Yes.
That wasn't
I was so embarrassed.
We should probably talk about that. We didn't really, because I've never done a show. I want to do a show one day. I've got a couple of ideas for a show.
Yeah.
We always get asked.
You're fine with wearing a bikini, yeah?
Outstanding.
Always. You heard it here first.
But then what will we do in our spare time?
Right.
just expose it all out here. This show is taking a dark turn. For me, what I enjoyed most from cosplay is being in character. And for me, that's what made my cosplay more convincing. So even with something like this, mine can be of this kind of quality, but once you see it on video, like the Civil War video that we did recently, then it looks like the real deal. It's like, oh my gosh, that's Iron Man, because of the things and doing the acting and stuff like that. Not because the build is particularly amazing, but the being in character and the movements. I really have a thing about studying the movements, and so I saw these competitions as a way of being in character. I'm not sure I remember when my first one. I think I remember my first one. And I thought it was something that everyone did. You just kind of I didn't realize it was a competition.
It was mandatory. You buy a ticket and you're going on stage.
Well, no. So I saw people signing up, but I thought like it was just like this fun. I didn't realize anyone's winning anything from it. I thought, I signed up last minute. There was a Wonder Woman cosplayer who was there. She wanted to get in, but she was too late. But I was able to put her on mine. I was like, just think of something. And then so basically me, her and her boyfriend, we just tried to think of a quick skit. And it was fun. We just did that and things like that. And then later on, I heard that there were people winning stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
Wait, you can win stuff?
I was like, but
get a boyfriend? Waste of time.
I know, right? I was like, oh, we can do something.
Out it goes.
We can do something. I'll get my boyfriend to help us. Like, cool.
Who else wants to come on stage?
Oh, it just filled up. No, but you just said, no, it filled up.
No, I should have said that.
Oh
no.
my God.
No, it was really good fun. And
I think this could have gone a lot worse.
It's gonna go a lot worse.
Genuinely, right up until the end.
Let me just say something actually, just quickly, because there was something I wanted to say.
No, what if I said
Earlier, there's something I wanted to say. That is why, because you're our first guest. Like, it's a big deal.
I feel important.
When we're bigger than Amazon.
Yeah,
People are
we'll remember. They'll remember that I was the first.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and I think the reason you'll agree with this is that the reason we wanted to have you on as our first guest is because just the passion that you have for con.
Yeah.
Whenever I see you at a con, you are just having the most fun ever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I joke about you being so busy. It's because you've always got something planned. You're always doing like groups and stuff and shots and the odd competitions, things like that. And you just love cosplay. Yeah. It's the passion. I think that's the most important thing.
Genuinely great to see someone, especially someone who we're good friends with now, every time just go, I'm just having so much fun with this, and I'm not like, obviously you take your build seriously, you're like, I want to do the best part, just go there and have a good time. Just go there and have a great time in it.
Exactly.
Which is lost on a lot of people.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, that particular competition, by the way, the Iron Man one, the reason I entered it was to make sure I finished the build.
That's a good.
That was literally the only
motivator,
reason.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never thought of that.
Like,
oh my God!
I just
be
exactly.
invincible.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously, or Invincible Iron Man. But no, that's
a really good. I've never thought of it like that.
Because I could see.
You're walking out there. It better be finished.
Yeah, literally. I told myself so many times that 2018 was the year I was going to start. Like learn, because I've always said I'm going to start learning filming. I'm going to start learning filming. It doesn't happen. And I thought this is going to be the year. I started off with a gauntlet, a very basic one. I was learning some on YouTube.
I remember.
And then I did Tony Stark. And then the reason I did Tony Stark with the gauntlet was to try and motivate myself into painting it.
It's literally physically like extending up your...
I actually, if you look at my cosplays, they've actually just generally been Tony Stark with gradual pieces until I had like the full thing. And the reason I did that was to motivate myself into doing the next bit and the next bit and the next bit. And then by the time I entered the competition, it's like, well, I have to. And so that's when the crazy con crunching really started for me.
Oh my God.
And so,
just like those words, con crunching.
Yeah, it was.
It's like when you wake up from a nightmare and you're like, you're dreaming that you've got to be at work.
Yes.
And you're like, you wake up and you're like, it's Saturday, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, con crunching is like,
I'm late for school.
Yeah. Haven't done your homework. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like you're going and you're thinking, when am I going to do this homework? Maybe on the bus, or maybe in the morning, like on the side, on the ledge before you go into the class. That's what it feels like, literally.
I remember once one of my university teachers saw me on the tube going to uni, and I was finishing the work that had to be handed in stage. And I just remember he looked at me and was like... Because he knew what I was doing.
That said it all, yeah.
But shut up, you can't judge me. I'd actually quite like to bring up, because I don't think we spoke about this, is that we talk about all the things that we've done in cosplay and what you've got out of cosplay, but cosplay's actually done quite a bit for you.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah. No, it's. I've been actually surprised at what it's ended up doing. It was just meant to be this hobby. It still is just this hobby. But towards the end of 2017, especially after I saw the Black Panther trailer, I really wanted to be at the premiere. I've tried to be at a premiere before I knew cosplay, and it didn't work. And then I thought, maybe through cosplay, this might actually, I might be able to weasel something in. And so that was part of the reason I was going hard at T'Challa, and I was growing my hair out and everything like that. And picked a couple of people. I had met Kisa, and she was on board with the idea. Another guy, Tom, he was on board with the idea. And, I said, I'll let you know how it goes. And then later that year, I actually then, Robin made a cyborg suit for me. And I was trying to do the Justice League premiere. It was just a London premiere. and it weren't any stars there, but it was pretty fun. Like, we had a good time and things. And so,
was that the first event you went to?
Yeah, effectively,
I thought
yeah.
you went to something before that.
No, but before that, just photo shoots, and then one shoot that I'd organised before then. But
that's crazy. Your first event that you went to was a DC thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy because I know all the Marvel, because you've been to a lot of premieres, a lot of premieres of and been responsible as well for getting a lot of people. Like, I will never forget ever being at the Avengers Endgame premiere. Like, because watching that film in that environment was mental. But like, you've been to loads of
it started off. So I mean, once I had that experience, I was like, you know what? I'll be happy if I can at least just get this experience with Black Panther. Previously, I'd wanted to try and get like the actual premiere. I thought I'll be pleased if I just do that. I did all this. I cyber stalked to such a large extent. I used all the knowledge I had of tech to try and find out people that were involved. Eventually, it led me right down to the people who were organizing the events on behalf of Disney. And then I showed them all my pictures. I showed them the best pictures that I could of things. And it's like, and asked, if there'll be, and they were big advocates. They really pushed us to Disney.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so we did it, like myself and with Chris as well.
Then you did it yourself because you found an avenue.
You not only obviously cosplay can do this for them, but also through your own kind of ingenuity was like, well, look, this is how we'll promote this. I tried to to see the way that. Fortunately, and then once the Black Panther one happened, we had a great time. We saw a number of celebrities there as well, and then they were pleased. And I was thinking about Avengers. I thought Avengers: Infinity War. And I thought, that's probably not going to happen, but I'll ask them anyway. I'll say like, look,
no harm in asking.
Yeah, exactly. And then coming closer towards the time, I then, put in the word again and, show some of the pictures we did before, and they were pleased with the way things went last time. And I thought, and in fact, we'll have more people. They gave me a number. And then I had to recruit within a weekend. And I was actually going away at some point as well. So I had a short time to do it. And I gradually started to know people, and I was using that. So I was using people who are great cosplayers and people who I knew, and secrecy. The secrecy part was really hard.
Yeah, it's awful.
It was,
especially like you say when you're like asking other people to come and you don't. We've had that conversation.
To clarify as well, this was for Infinity War. But if anybody can remember the fanfare, this was this was like bigger than Avengers.
Yes. We were on BBC. For that one, and we got people got to meet the star, and they had certain arrangements. Once they had the cosplayers in, their ambitions grew, and they thought, we want to do this now, and so they started asking me about because they started looking for Loki cosplayers because they wanted to do a certain thing. We had our Loki cosplayer, and they found others as well. But in terms of us, they wanted us to be on the stage and things like that, and so. But there were certain people who were going to miss out, and so I was like behind the scenes trying to like ask them for the people who were missing out if we could do a thing for them. Yeah. So they managed to get them on the red carpet.
That's fantastic. It was great. They couldn't do anything at all.
Yeah,
because it's important to say as well. A lot of people see cosplayers at events and things like that, and then they make that their be all and end all, and that's the wrong thing to do. If you 100%. Want to do it, it's fine. Feel honoured and privileged that you get to go to any event like that, but. That's just wow, lucky me. It shouldn't be a driving force because then it gets like messy and
it's incredible to be there. But you are,
but you're a fan first.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And also you're like I'm trying to think of what the word is. You're like a show pony. You're there to entertain the crowd.
Oh yeah. At the same time, like they invite you because go away.
Go entertain the crowd, which is not a bad thing. You get
something for it. Yeah, you get something for it. But so I really want to reiterate: is if your goal in life is to be in one of these premieres, you need to look further, look higher, because this is not the be all and end all. It is great being there, but. Everyone will forget about the only reason we're talking about Infinity War is because of this particular conversation. No one remembers that I was at the Infinity War premiere. No one cares.
Yeah, except you.
Yeah, exactly.
Except you.
That is what it is. It's like between us, it's a great moment. Go before anybody else saw it. I was at the Infinity War, and you can talk about it.
And
it's a great memory.
It was a great experience. But I'd say if I didn't go to it. there's nothing that was removed from my experience. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I just saw the movie at midnight, like everyone else or whatever, at a later time, it would not.
No, it's not going to enjoy. It's not going to take away your enjoyment of the film, or you enjoying the film more or less.
Exactly.
Or,
I've seen people at premieres.
It might be a bit more hype, like the environment, but it's still not going to change your enjoyment.
It's not something that you remember. Yeah, exactly.
I think there's going to be. We're going to have so many conversations, but that premiere thing as well ties in with the whole people fame hunting with cosplay as well.
Yeah,
which is very much the same thing. It's like it shouldn't be like it can be. It's fine. But yeah,
it's a bonus.
Do cosplay because you enjoy cosplay.
Yeah, it's a bonus.
At the end of the day, it's a great way to, like I said before, meet and interact with people who are just enthusiastic of you and can talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's no way you're going to be the type of fame you want from it. Ever. And
it's not because you are good. I wasn't there because I'm the best Black Panther cosplayer. I wasn't there because Endgame, I was able to go as Iron Man, which was a big dream.
Oh, we remember Endgame.
That was
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that was a whole separate other thing. I never thought that I would build something that I would even take out there, let alone then take pictures next to Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson. That was amazing. Yeah. That was. I had a great time.
But then the fact you got to do it as Iron in your Iron Man cosplay, because a lot of the time, companies will be like, okay, we want someone who looks exactly like Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
And that's awesome that they're just like, no, you love Iron Man, you're an Iron Man cosplayer, there you go, mate. I had pictures with my mask down and pictures with my mask up, and they chose to publish one with my mask up, and that meant a lot to me. It was a small thing for me, it meant a lot to me. No, 100%, and that's how it should be, of course.
But the thing is, it's not because I'm the best.
Can you imagine?
Iron Man
You're standing there with your eyes and like a representative from the film just goes like,
the thing is, I could so see that happening. I could so see that happening. That can happen anyway, like especially if you're doing like a gig or something like that, because they want to see the full. When say, oh, I want a picture of you. Oh, can you have it with your mask on? It happens. Yeah. So it can easily be disguised in one way or another. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not because I'm like the best or one of the best Iron Man cosplayers. That is not it at all. We all worked hard to get to do that. Yes. But there is so much luck on there. I put in the work into trying to network with the right people. Yeah. And that was a big thing. And then there's luck. And then there's scheduling. And is this going to work? Is that going to work? That is all it is. Not so if someone's aiming towards it, it doesn't really make much sense because it won't mean anything. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you have achieved this height of thingy. No, because if you look at like yourselves or Alex or Steve or something like that, like really excellent build, they're like you're far beyond there. And so having gone to a premiere isn't one of the achievements that is a stepping stone. You know what I mean?
It's
it
has nothing to do with it. It's like lucky me, and that's it.
It's exactly what it should be, which is it was a great moment between all of us.
It's just like you say, only you are going to remember. It's nothing.
I count that as something fantastic because out of this hobby that I would do anyway, I got to experience this.
That's what I always say. That's because a lot of the time I'll get people who know me who don't cosplay, and they're like, "Oh, so when's the next thing you're going to? When's the next?" And I'm like, I do this hobby. If I get to go to something like that, excellent. But I'm not doing it to get there because it's just I'll be doing it anyway. Sometimes people are like, "Are you getting paid?" Yeah, and I'll be like, "No,
I've got a job."
No, I have been paid for some things before, but I'll be like, "No, I don't care about that because I'd be doing this anyway."
Exactly. Like, this is the thing.
But that's what we said. What goes from fan to cosplayers? Because usually people are ultra fans. We would be doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that it's such a place now where we can get rewarded for it. It's fantastic. It's great. But it's never going to be the driving force.
Yeah, it's opportunity.
For some people it is, but it's never going to be our driving force.
Yeah. One more little point. The Black Panther premiere, when we were first doing it, I always said that even I talked to the cinemas in London, like View, Odeon and all that stuff. So basically, but what I was basically, if we didn't get a premiere, then we'll just try and do one of these. That was so. It wasn't like
you just go.
Whatever happens,
make your own thing.
We were going to do it anyway. It's not like so. That's the thing. So that's not the be all and end all. Yeah.
So the last thing I've got, one of them on here is social media. That is not getting touched now. We have not got the time. We have to do that next time you come on.
That's a whole session by itself.
That is a love-hate, massive conversation. So the last thing on the list is cosplans. Now, that as well is a massive thing.
Yeah.
I'm really weird with like cosplaying. I don't tell anyone anything that I do.
We kind of just turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
don't
it.
know what I will say in response
like
to
it,
that
yeah.
in my future.
I always have to query you guys if I
That was in
to
the
know what
past.
you're
I might waterboard you.
Tell me what you're gonna do.
No, I mean,
Have you got anything that you like want to share that you're going to be doing?
I usually share the ones that I expect to maybe be forming groups around.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets people thinking, oh, I would like to do something like that, or with that. So I have a couple. One which I mentioned to you earlier, which is kind of a secret.
Oh, yeah.
Is that there are 2 or 3 close friends that know about it, but it's I can't wait for that. But in terms of ones that I can share, especially which are so different, Gizmo Duck from DuckTales.
Awesome.
All right.
Completely. So I had fun doing a Disney cosplay this year. I did Robin Hood. And there is one which has been a dream cosplay almost as high as Iron Man, and that is Gizmo Duck.
That is
because that was my Iron Man before Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like it was on the show DuckTales. Like it was the pieces come together. He says a secret word, all the pieces come together. Like I used to love it, and I realized when I got into Iron Man, I realized that the connection with why I like them both. But so I've always wanted to do it, but I always said once I've learned how to build Iron Man at least to an extent, then I'll know I have skills enough to kind of do this.
Yeah.
So I intend on doing a humanoid Gizmo Duck armor. I have a couple of DC plans which relate to you both in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Actually, three DC plans.
Oh, probably one of those we don't know about. It's just like you're doing it.
Others involve like when we first met, the kind of cosplay you're doing. And another.
This episode will probably be going out like as that's about to start happening.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy to think.
So you could we could probably just say what that one is.
Oh yeah. So the
one where we first met, you're talking about that one.
Yeah. So one of the others that I'm hoping to do next year with you guys, because of the bond that we share, is Smallville.
Yes.
And we
so much
won't
love.
say
You know what? There's going to be an episode of just us talking about Smallville. It's going to happen.
100%.
It's going to happen.
100%. Yeah. We've got a full team recruited for it, and also begun to get the wider group.
Yes, I can't wait. That group can expand massively.
So much. Seriously. That's
cool, because we got one. Actually, because that conversation was just us going, well, we can maybe talk about something we're going to do. So that's actually an answer to the question. But I can't wait to do that.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome.
I would love to do it. I mean, it's now been a while since I did Cyborg. And, because I did Cyborg 2 years ago. So it's just like, now I get to do a version of Cyborg from the show that I absolutely adore and that we were obsessed about.
Always hold on to Smallville.
Always hold on to Smallville. Oh, yes.
I think that was a pretty awesome episode.
Yeah.
That flew by.
I don't like it. I think we should start again.
I want to do more.
So tell people where they can follow you and look at your work and things like that.
Yeah. So on Instagram, you can follow me on Ugoandcosplay. And that is the same on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/UgoAndCosplay. On Twitter, I'm at Ugo_Ano. So it's UGO_ANO. And that's where I am currently.
Wicked. And thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me first.
Yeah, baby.
First. When this is released, I want to actually comment that first.
First, I'll let you know, just as I'm going to put it on.
I don't even know how first I was.
Yeah.
Okay, and Tim, tell the people where they can find us as well.
Well, James, they can find us on Twitter and on Insta at The Suit Up Show.
And you can give us an email at thesuitupshow@gmail.com.
That'll cut together nicely.
It will. We'll make that work.
Yeah.
We'll learn them eventually.
Exactly. They'll be saying it.
Yeah. Awesome. Wicked. Cheers, dude.
Yeah.
No problem. Can we do the thing where the music kind of like starts coming on and we start pretending we're talking about something, but actually
Let's
just
start
miming
pretending
words?
to talk now then.
Yeah.